It is a time of year when increased number of people on the roads and the water and celebrating the festive season, and this unfortunately leads to horrific accidents and fatalities. Joining us live is Paul Spinks, paramedic in Cairns, Queensland. Good afternoon to you, Paul. How are you?
Yeah, good day, Janie, and a happy new year to you. I mightn't look my best. I've been up for most of the night, so I'll be looking forward to having a rest after this interview's done, if nothing else happens in town.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell us about how it went last night in Cairns. You, as you said, you've been working around the clock. I think you work 24/7, don't you, on call? What are some of the instances that happened last night?
Yeah, look, I guess it was just a normal run of the mill last night. Lots of parties and things like that. So I guess just general ambulance work. There's a few people that get have a little bit too much to drink and start fighting. So I guess, but I mean that can happen anywhere. But I guess just establishing with the audience, like I'm about 600 kilometres north of Cairns in this tiny little town of Cairns, which most people use on the way to Bamaga. So I'm a single officer response. And my catchment area is a couple hundred kilometres. So apart from just the immediate town work, yeah, I can be dispatched on jobs that are literally a couple hundred kilometres away.
And what kind of jobs are you looking at?
Yeah, well, look, there's obviously outside the immediate town, there's the cattle stations around town. So there's, there's all the kind of work that comes from there. On my last rotation, an EPIRB went off on a yacht, which was off the coast of Port Stewart, which is about 150, 60 kilometres from me. It was late at night and pouring rain, so it was a difficult job. We got to this location, the police followed us to this particular location, and there was only the message kept on coming through that the person was in and out of consciousness. And the only way we could get to this person was via this little estuary system that allowed a little boat to go out to the ramp, but the tide was too low. So you have to use your ingenuity here. So we got hold of one of the locals and we communicated with the yacht, and we found this little isolated section on the beach. And then we took off for about 30 minutes down this remote track through river systems and mud plains. And we eventually get to the beach, and then of course we're on a beach full of crocodiles and box jellyfishes and things like that. So yeah, we eventually got the man in distress and got him into the ambulance, and then we had about a 3-hour trip home. So we can do really big jobs here with very few resources. So you've got to keep on picking outside the square.
How impressed are you with our medical team when people are in need, Paul?
Yeah, look, it never ceases to amaze me. We've got to remember that when you cut your finger and you go into emergency department and you're waiting for 4 hours to see a doctor, and invariably people get frustrated and get angry with health. That's one side of it. But the reason for that is because there's always priority. There's other people that are getting looked after that are in more strife than you are. But when you're sick, when you're really sick, no matter where you are in this country, and let's use Cape York where I am at the moment, so you're hundreds of kilometres from services. When you're in strife, like that man in the yacht, or a cardiac arrest, you've got the whole state attention. You've got not the whole country coming towards you. Helicopters are being tasked, Royal Flying Doctors are being tasked, airlines jets are being diverted to circle around where you are to pinpoint your location. So then the ambulance gets there, Royal Flying, we've got to find an airstrip, get Royal Flying Doctors to meet us at a particular airstrip, get you on a plane and get you home. And then, of course, you've got a team of consultants that are waiting for you at a hospital to look after you. To me, that's incredibly impressive that when we need it most, our health services are extraordinary.
And so are you, Paul, with the work that you do, absolutely extraordinary. As you said, you're working around the clock, and you're a single officer representing around a population of 400 and in such a remote area. A lot of roads that people have to travel through, as you mentioned, to northern and southern Queensland, a lot of country roads. It's very dangerous, as we know. What advice would you give people who are heading on the roads where it's so dangerous, potentially?
Yeah. So probably the main accidents that we see up this area as you head further north are single vehicle rollovers. Obviously down in more metropolitan areas and national highways, it's often involving another vehicle. But we've got to remember the further north we go, you've got your emergency lane, then you've got your barriers. suddenly the barriers start disappearing, suddenly the emergency lane starts disappearing, and that bitumen gets narrower and narrower. And there can be sometimes a 3 or 4 metre little cliff beside the bitumen. So if you're driving along and you lose concentration just momentarily, or reach for your phone, or whatever the case may be, in a split second, you're now airborne, and you're sailing off the road. So lots of single vehicle rollovers. So I would say to anybody, as you start to get into this kind of road system, as the police always say to us, you've just got to slow down, and you've got to be just so aware and so vigilant. Once you get off the bitumen, you're then on the dirt roads of Cape York or the northern areas of Australia, and you've got heavy corrugation. You've got big dust holes. I went to a job just the other day where the car wheels dug into the dust hole, just going slow, pushes the back of the car out, and the car rolls over just so easy. We see those kind of accidents all the time. And if you're used to driving on metropolitan roads and national highways, and you're a grey nomad and you've taken off for your trip of a lifetime around the country, we're just not aware of how easily you can get caught on these roads.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got to wrap it up, but I just wanted to quickly talk to you about water safety, because there has been an increase in drownings, and many experts are talking about the lack of swimming lessons due to COVID lockdowns. Your message for people heading into the waters, whether it's the ocean, the dams, just any type of water?
Yeah, look, I guess water safety comes under general safety. Obviously, the standard messages in the surf beaches and swimming between the flags. But if you're unfit leave your feet on the ground, don't start treading water and lose the stability of your feet. People suddenly start treading water, a wave takes them, and then they realise they're exhausted pretty quickly. But again, it all comes under the banner of general safety. They say that a 50-year-old man should never climb up a ladder. And there's probably some truth in that. But what do? We climb up to the last rung of the ladder, then we reach out to change the light bulb, and then we kick the ladder out from underneath us, and down we go, and we break our arm and shatter our pelvis. So if we could only have all those occupational health and safety things that we use at work and bring them into our public life, like swimming or climbing up a ladder or using a chainsaw, we could save ourselves so many accidents and so many visits to the ED, and of course, worst case scenario, even death.
Yeah, absolutely. Great advice. Always great to speak to you. Have a wonderful and safe new year. All the best in Cohen. Paul Spinks, paramedic. Take care.
Thanks, Janie, very much.